Almost every financial professional starts their videos the wrong way. Here's the fix. Most financial professionals start by listing credentials, services, or achievements, and clients immediately zone out. The worst part? You could be the most skilled, insightful, and ethical professional in your city, and no one would remember you.
The real problem isn't your knowledge, it's your positioning. A 60-second cinematic video built from your brand statement or short documentary story instantly shows who you help, why you exist, and what makes you different from every other financial professional. Stop blending in, start standing out, and watch how quickly the right clients notice you.
Here's the challenge most financial professionals don't realize. Your clients don't care about how many certifications you have. They care about whether they can trust you and if you understand them. In fact, studies show people make a judgment about your credibility in the first 7 seconds of seeing your video. 7 seconds. That's why clarity matters more than detail. And that's where a carefully crafted 60-second positioning video changes the game.
Imagine delivering your brand story, your purpose, and your differentiation in just 1 minute. Cinematic, clear, and unforgettable. Unlike generic intros that blend into the noise, this approach anchors your authority, builds instant trust, and sticks in memory.
Clients don't just see what you do. They feel why you do it, and they remember it. It's not about being louder or flashier. It's about being strategically clear. And the best part? Once your positioning is clear, prospects stop comparing you to other financial professionals. They know exactly why you're the right one for them.
If you want your first video to actually work, not disappear into the scroll, then sit back and let's dive into this episode of The Sandbox.
Welcome to this week's episode of The Sandbox, where we're talking about creating a pitch video that has a story arc, or what we call story brand. Last week, we talked about brand statements. This week, we're going to talk about the next step, which really is creating a pitch video for a story arc that grabs people's attention. And makes them want to click on and watch a longer form piece of content, right?
Yes.
So what's the most important missing piece, do you think, that most advisors have when it comes to, last week talked about the audience, and we talked about the problem that they have most in common and how to create a unique solution for it. But how do you present that from the actual brand statement to creating a pitch video that gets people interested in listening to kind of a longer documentary style story branded arc that captures people's attention, grabs their attention, entertains them,
makes them lean in,
educates them,
yeah,
because if you don't grab their attention, they won't stick around to be educated, and then persuade them to take some sort of action. What we do in the Sandbox is have all of our members create pitch videos that can you articulate that process in under 60 seconds.
Yeah, and some people would call it an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
These pitch videos can also be repurposed in a million different ways as content on your social medias, but you can't really create a pitch video until you know who you serve, and that's part of the brand statement. And then the story arc, what we were talking about earlier and what we're going to talk about in this episode, is how to create that pitch video that has a story arc with a beginning, middle, and an end. The people watching know exactly that the content is meant for them because you're calling them out. You're identifying who they are, what their problem is, and you have to do that all in the first 5 seconds. And then,
which is a challenge.
And then once you've hooked them in, which we call that hook story offer, we hook them in with who they are, what their problem is, do that in under 7 seconds, then tell them a story about the problem and this unique solution that you have. and then a call to action, which is your offer, which is if you would like to know more, click the link below, go watch the documentary, wherever you want to send them. And then you get them in our ecosystem, you get them into the long form documentary, which is basically the pitch video, but a 12-minute version of it that goes in deep, that builds trust, and authority and all that stuff.
And most of our documentaries were actually, we're trying to go 20 to 30 minutes if we can, long form.
Yeah.
And if I can reframe what you just said, obviously you're teaching me formulas, but I'm trying to translate that to financial professionals. Hook, story, offer. Hook is grabbing their attention. That's where you have how many seconds in the beginning of the video?
7 or 3.
Okay, so 3 to 7 seconds.
You're competing with everyone's thumb.
So that's grabbing their attention. And then story. Okay, so hook, story. That's story is where we're really focusing on today.
Yeah.
If you've ever met somebody in a networking event and they start telling themselves about you,
like, what do you do? What do you do? And then, and then you just dump facts on them.
So what makes in a networking event, which people do capture your attention and make you want to stay and listen to whatever they have to tell you versus somebody who starts talking and you're thinking to yourself, how quickly can I get out of this conversation?
Yeah, well, it's the story. And you could also just say, how interesting they are. If they're not interesting people, what do they always do? They always are telling stories that, well, I helped this person, and you give some sort of like emotional backstory of
that's it.
I agree. And it makes people lean in to not just what you do, but it's all of it. It's how did you develop this solution? What types of results have you had? Amazing things.
Okay, so
we get a 30% return, annualized return, and we do it over 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just
so give me just a quick example of a good hook, and then we'll transition to focusing on story.
Well, I keep using Larry as an example because he got the most articulate one. He serves federal employees.
Okay, so but how could he hook that in 3 seconds?
He could say, are you having trouble filling out your federal paperwork? Do you know that you might have this might be a situation that you cannot reverse? And are you a federal employee? I'm not saying it as articulate as
Larry does.
But in 3 seconds, it's like, oh, I'm a federal employee. I'm having trouble filling out my paperwork. I might not be able to undo this.
And in this video,
and you can say that in 5 seconds.
And in this video, we're going to show
you how to solve solve
that problem. So stick around or click on the link, and we're going to show you how to eliminate these downfalls for federal employees.
Mm-hmm. And in the middle of that, you tell a story of, which we'll get to next, is, this is federal employees all have this type of problem. This is how I solve it. This is how I came up with this solution. And if you'd like to know more,
I love real world examples. So if you don't mind, I'm going to throw out like with Larry, federal employees. A good hook would be like, do you know there's 3 irreversible decisions that you're going to make as a federal employee unless you consult with a professional?
Yeah, or even better, did you know there's these mistakes that all federal employees or most federal employees make when filling out their paperwork?
And we're going to show you how to avoid them.
Yeah, and right there you've said federal employee, paperwork, irreversible decisions that could affect your retirement, and you've said it all in 3 seconds.
Okay, so now you come from a real estate development, real estate reality show, and so I just want to relate it to that so people can have outside financial professionals and financial professionals, but it's all the same formula, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's say that you're flipping houses and all of a sudden interest rates just skyrocket, which makes flipping houses harder because the borrowing or leveraging money to be able to buy a house and flip it and sell it. What the challenge is in that. Mm-hmm. And it's, if you don't control the cost versus the sale and the time frame for the remodel, isn't that the biggest fear for what people do in what you did for so many years? How could you articulate that into a hook and then transition it into a story? Because I've heard you tell me a story about a house you got that went great, was one of your favorite houses, but because it sat on the market
the holding
so
costs
long.
kill you. So
create a hook, transition it into a story as an example.
Well, you need a solution to be able to have a hook. I don't really have a solution for that one, but I mean, you're putting me on the spot.
Well, I think just from the stories I've heard, it's like, have you been flipping houses? If you want to learn from an expert who's flipped this many houses and figured out the recipe for how to reduce cost to create enough profit to where even if it sits on the market longer than expected, I have a strategy that will help you avoid that pitfall, which you've shared with me, and I'm putting you on the spot. So, but I've heard the stories because you're the one who's been mentoring me on marketing.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. You got to hook them with the right audience, with addressing the problem that you're going to propose a solution to in the hook. You got 7 seconds max, and it's getting shorter.
And then you have to get into the story.
Right. So what we force our Sandbox members, which are advisors and VA, or not advisors, financial professionals, which includes real estate, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, life insurance agents, everything in the financial industry, is trying to help them articulate in the first 7 seconds, which we did last week, who they serve, problem that you're going to address, and hey, if you stick around and watch this, here's what you're going to see a solution. Now, transition into story, and what's the important part of this? Like as we do 60 seconds, we force them to run a 60 seconds or under. And it's really kind of a commercial to sell us on whether we want to build out a full documentary.
Yeah.
What does it need to include in that 60 seconds for you to feel like this is a great opportunity to build out into a full documentary sales funnel?
It's going to have, or there's a lot of things.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but even if people join the Sandbox, pennies on the dollar, they still could develop that story or pitch video into a webinar or a live workshop as well.
Absolutely.
It doesn't need to be a documentary.
Universal. It's a universal skill, and it sounds like a lot because there's sub topics within a topic, but you have to identify the problem, identify the unique solution, and inside of that, you also build authority and trust by telling your origin story, which you can kind of get into your background, how you develop the story. And it's not, like I said, it sounds like a lot. You can condense it into 1 minute, but you have to have identify the problem, the unique problem that your unique audience has with a unique solution, which is what you're good at, is helping professionals, advisors come up with their unique solution that solves that unique problem. And you can do that all in 30 seconds. And the whole idea of the pitch video is, we call it a pitch video, but it's also social media content.
Correct.
It's
like your ad.
It's content that goes out into the universe. It scoops up your ideal client and addresses the problem that they have with your unique solution and says, would you like to know more? Go and watch the documentary. I've created a full documentary. It goes over this and this and
webinar,
this and this.
workshop,
or workshop,
interchangeable.
This also works great on the sales and closing side because you still use all of these tools and skills to continue that process of educating your prospective client with the problem and the solution.
So we know the biggest missing piece that we talked about in After Dark last night was about helping people understand that people go from buying leads to selling, and they're missing the marketing piece in the middle.
Which is the story.
Yes.
The marketing is just stories.
Because marketing gets people to like, know, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do that and you go straight from a cold lead to a sales pitch,
Yeah.
then there's no sense of I believe you, I trust you.
Yeah, we talked about it before. You need to get them to buy into this concept that you're presenting. And if they don't buy in, which is the know, like, and trust, and believe that you have clearly articulated the problem that they have better than they understand the problem,
Right.
and then also can present a unique solution with an offer that breaks down how exactly are you going to fix their problem. And then they're already pre-sold by the time they book a call with you or end up as an appointment on your calendar. They've already pre-sold themselves because they've already leaned in and they bought into everything that you're saying.
The piece I want to focus on today in today's episode is often we can make a case for the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I could go back and show the inadequacies and the outdated design of 401ks and all the vulnerabilities of using a 401k to fund your retirement. And I could build a case for that. But it still misses the more important part. And that's what you mentioned, which is the story or the journey of the advisor.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to focusing on that particular solution? So there's an epiphany moment. You know, for any financial professional, there's 50 different solutions you could solve.
Mm-hmm.
What made them choose that particular solution over the other 49? And that journey and that epiphany of why they're so focused on and expert in, and what made them lean in and become the expert that they are. It's kind of like we've talked about the formula of any movie. We talked about Star Wars, and we've talked about Don Miller's story brand that applies to every screenplay and marketing, which is that you have a hero, which is not the business owner.
Not the business owner.
And then the hero is who?
The customer.
The customer.
The prospect.
But they will only identify with you if you also go through that same story arc in your own personal story. Is like,
and like you said, the perfect example or analogy is the Star Wars story. It's the Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
He has a problem. He wants to get somewhere. He meets Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi has already been where Luke has been, right? And so we talk about the origin story. So Luke identifies with Obi-Wan Kenobi and he goes, he's just like me. He understands my problem. I think he can get me to where I want to go.
Because he's gotten there. So if he can get there, he can show me how he got there.
He can show me how to do it. So Obi-Wan Kenobi is the financial professional. Your prospect is Luke Skywalker, and you're helping them get to the place that they want to go through whatever educational process you want to take them through, and give them the result that they want.
But I think the biggest missing piece is that most financial professionals don't explain why they became an expert in this particular solution.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's because, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to admit it to myself, our egos create a roadblock, because I don't want to admit that I was in a place in my career that I didn't know a solution to this problem, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I need to find this is a huge problem, and I need to take a deep dive. There's an epiphany moment where, like, this is probably the biggest problem all my clients are having. I got to go find a solution, and they may spend years with a mentor or a guide to help them find that solution. Now they're super passionate, super experienced on solving that problem because they went through it themselves.
Well, they forget that the customer is also going through that journey. And because they figured out, they assume, most business owners assume, I have this amazing solution. You would be an idiot not to take my solution. So they just assume that people are going to want to come.
Why would they come to that conclusion? Why would somebody say, based on whatever story you told, I'd be an idiot not to at least listen to your solution. What sets that up?
Well, no, I was saying that business owners automatically jump to the sales part.
Right. So I want to rewind
because they're forgetting.
So I want to rewind and go to what they're forgetting. How do you set up this person has been through this and has perfected a solution, but the why, the motivation behind what caused them to become obsessed with this solution. I feel like most advisors want to go straight to, this is a problem, and here's why it's a problem, and I have
that's
solution.
The thing. It's like you said, it's ego or it's laziness, or they think, that doesn't matter, that's just fluff, and they're skipping over the part of telling the origin story, doing the marketing, which is storytelling, persuading, tapping into your prospects, your customers' psychology. And most business people think that's just a waste of time. They don't want to do it, they don't know how to do it, and they just it's easier for them to just jump straight into the sales because that's something they know.
It's not easier. The reason they do it goes back to
it's the only thing they know how to do.
It goes back to ego. I want to go back to presenting why I'm so good at what I do. They don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah, just buy my stuff.
They don't want to be vulnerable and tell the story of rewind back in time when this was a problem I didn't know how to solve. Because that's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because it makes you sound like, oh, no, I don't want to say that. Then it doesn't make me sound like an expert. But they want to root for people who went from knowing it was a problem. They want to know the journey you took to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And based on how hard it was for you to solve the problem, to get to the solution you got, and how many people you had to talk to. And that story arc makes them, wow, it took him 15 years to perfect this.
Yeah.
And now he's got it dialed in.
Yeah.
And
that's the trust and authority that we're talking about. It convinces your audience that, this guy has it figured out. And instead of just telling, you're showing.
And the relatability. I think so many consumers want to know that. It's just like if you've ever watched a Shark Tank. It's like, I just saw one the other week. It was a replay. They came in with this apparatus you could wrap around your baby, and it was an automatic arm that patted your baby. And I'm like, okay, never seen that before. It's kind of funny. But the reality was she told the origin story, which is she had postpartum depression, and she had a colicky baby, and she was not getting any sleep. And you'd try and bring the baby in bed with you and try and pat them, and you'd fall asleep. And she's like literally, I was losing my mind because I could not get sleep and I could not appease my baby. That's why I invented this solution.
Yeah.
That origin story is what convinces people to lean into your solution. And I think that origin story is the biggest missing piece. That's what we're going to cover today.
Awesome.
So after the break, throughout this challenge last week, we had dozens of submissions for a 60-second pitch video that could articulate the hook story offer, with that story being including the origin story and then the journey and how they can solve the problem. We're going to take a look at that at the 3 finalists right after this break.
Some financial professionals wake up to calendars full of appointments, while others are just failing. Most financial professionals are incredible at helping clients, but their marketing doesn't bring consistent appointments. The Sandbox teaches financial professionals how to build a modern marketing system online. You'll learn how to clarify your message, build a high-converting funnel, and create a video that introduces prospects to your philosophy. When it's done right, qualified appointments start showing up on your calendar. Join the Sandbox at wealthvids.com/sandbox.
Welcome back. And so now we're going to jump into our finalists. So just going to pull some finalists up here. And let's take a look. Our first finalist is from an advisor, financial advisor.
Is she going to play it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Of course. Well, Marie, are you going to play these, or am I screen sharing to play them? Good question.
I think she hasn't loaded up. She hasn't loaded up.
All right. So
this first one's for the
David Harris.
David Harris.
So David Harris specializes in alternative investments. So not your traditional retirement planning. This is going to be outside of like
alternative investments, right?
Meaning people aren't investing in, straight into like a stock market portfolio or annuities or some sort of like traditional retirement product. These are truly alternatives. This is
like real estate, energy companies, opportunity zones.
Yeah, premium financing and all these other solutions that typically are reserved for
the elites,
elite high net worth individuals. Mm-hmm. And he's making them more accessible to your kind of mid-level investor. So we're going to take a look at this. The question is whether Marie is going, or our producer is going to play the video, or whether we are. But let's take a look at David Harris' 60-second pitch video. And if not, I will share my screen and we will do that. Welcome to live. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for playing that particular video, Brian, can you summarize the other two finalists, which was, of course, The Great Deception, which is American Financial, and Rob Lepart, which is the hybrid retirement. And our producer, feel free to cut us off if you can share the video, our first video, which is going to be David Harris and his alternative investments. Otherwise, let me know and I'll screen share. Let's see. Okay, then here we go. Our producers got it ready to go.
Most high net worth investors believe their portfolio is diversified until everything falls at the same time. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, most portfolios sit on the same financial grid. When that grid shakes, so does your wealth. Meanwhile, inflation rises, taxes increase, and the safe side of the portfolio doesn't always act safe. So experienced investors are asking a different question. What if your wealth didn't depend entirely on the market? What if your portfolio generated income from real assets people actually use? In this documentary, we explore why the traditional 60-40 portfolio is being re-examined and how some investors are shifting toward private, income-producing investments. This isn't about chasing returns. It's about building wealth that actually works for your life. Watch the full documentary on the Wealth Vids YouTube channel.
All right. So, good and bad.
It was good. It was okay. But if you only had to make, if you could only make one video, that's why we want to try. We want the videos to hit all those markers. So it was kind of missing the backstory. It would be interesting.
Backstory. So origin
story.
How did that financial professional come to the epiphany of the need for alternative investments?
And that kind of kills two birds with one stone too, because you have an opportunity to describe how you invented this solution, and you can also bring in case studies, because part of the origin story is I had these clients that had this problem, so I developed this solution by using all these other instruments over here and put this together in a unique solution, and it solved their problem, and it can solve your problem too. So you get the origin story of how I invented the thing. You
validate
the problem.
Wait, third party validation.
Yes. Yes, validation of the problem that these other people had, case studies. I came up with this idea.
But even news clips can say,
absolutely,
can say 401k,
market crashing and all this stuff.
401ks are totally failing, and then you have a news clip from CNN or NBC's Fox saying,
and then you go into that's why I created this instrument over here, this unique solution, and
you can even show those clips and still be doing voiceover.
Absolutely.
Like you don't even have to lose those seconds.
No, it's 5 seconds on the screen. It's this.
Yeah.
You know, this crashing,
Like
this crashing.
One
this crashing.
sentence from a newscast.
And that's what all good stories do, right? They start with the catastrophe.
Right.
And then you have to dig your way out of it. And then part of the entertainment of watching those types of things is seeing, I love those types of stories. They're called a man in a hole. Like every movie you've ever seen with, like Maverick is a great example.
Yes.
There's a problem. How are they going to dig their way out of this problem?
What's the problem? Maverick.
Yeah.
Give us an example.
Well, you know, they have to go fly this mission that no one's ever done before, and I've got to train all these people. So you're watching the pilots that he's training kind of level up.
But they're realizing this is
and
a death mission.
And Maverick's learning something. So you're watching them just learn and overcome all these challenges. And then the resolution is they succeed. The solution worked, and now everyone's happy.
Correct. And that's a good movie script, screenplay, marketing, story brand, webinar presentation, workshop presentation. Same format.
And all we're doing is we're condensing that into 60 seconds.
Right.
And you have 7 seconds to capture people's attention, and you have probably another 30 seconds to describe your origin story, you know, how you developed it, who it's for, all these reasons why it worked. And then the offer, which is the hook story offer, is if you want to know more, I have a complete documentary that goes into detail.
And I'm going to rewind it because I really want to focus on the story part because I think that's the biggest missing piece. So I'm going to try and not get on a sidetrack on offers today because we really are teaching. That's next week. But why is it that we restrict the financial professional with the content creator to try and compress it into 60 seconds? You mentioned it earlier about the value of an elevator pitch. Why is it so important to force them into 60 seconds?
Because if you can say it in 60 seconds, you can say it in 20 minutes. You can say it at a workshop. You can say it at a party, at a networking event. You have these tools that you can use.
Hey, Brian, what do you do for a living?
To get people to link. Oh, I'm a financial advisor. and well, what does that mean?
I'm a life insurance agent.
But if you say, I help these people that have this problem, and I've developed this proprietary solution that I've developed over 15 years that gets this result and this result and this result. And if you have that problem, I could help you too.
That's such a different story. And 60 seconds is because you really, in a networking event or in a video is even shorter.
You have even less of their attention.
You have less time.
And if you're boring, that's really what it comes down to. If you're boring, you're not going to succeed.
How many of you have been in a networking event where you walk up to somebody and they start talking about themselves, not their story?
Like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
And they're listing all of their experience and awards and credentials, and you're thinking to yourself, how do I get out of this conversation as soon as possible? If that is the way people react to your story or your elevator pitch, that's where you need to join the Sandbox and learn how to recraft that because you're going to use it everywhere you go.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, these pitch videos are really just a version of content that you should be putting out daily.
Yes.
As organic social media content, these little mini types of stories, and they all our formula is they all push to the final documentary, which is your full
webinar or workshop.
Yes. However you want to do it, but you've got to hook their attention and make them lean in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be boring.
Couldn't agree with you more. We're going to move on to the Great
Deception.
The Great Deception from American Financial, created by Christine, content creator Christine. So, Marie, if you can help us out and we can play that submission for a pitch video.
Here we go.
What if the biggest threat to your retirement isn't the market, but the way your money is positioned? Millions of hardworking families follow the traditional advice. Save in retirement accounts, build a bigger balance, and hope it lasts. But later, they discover something few people talk about. Taxes, inflation, and market volatility can quietly drain the income they plan to live on. That's why some families are exploring the LIFT method. LIFT stands for Leveraged Income plus Flexible Tax-Free Growth, a strategy designed to reposition wealth so retirement income can become more tax-efficient, more flexible to access, and potentially stronger without taking unnecessary risk. If you want to understand why traditional retirement planning may be failing families, watch the documentary The Great Deception on YouTube. The film reveals the problem, and the LIFT method shows the solution.
All right, so
That's excellent.
yeah, no,
I mean, I'm always blown away at the level of creativity of our creators.
yes, but I even noticed in this particular video, I still would have liked to see. Now, they used me as the clone to represent this particular brand, which is often, we'll fill in any clone to tell the pitch video. And then if it's worthy of development, then we'll put in the actual advisor that is going to build out the documentary. So they get to like, know, and trust you as the advisor or the professional. Now, the one thing that I think is missing here is a little bit of backstory or testimonial. Like even if you could get 5-second clip in there of some sort of origin story of like why did we come to
and you could even inject a case study in this, like the reason we developed the LIFT method is because of this reason, and people were there, the correlation wasn't working out, we gave them an opportunity to leverage. However you want to say it, you could say it in 5 seconds. And then a result would be, we've helped families like this and like this and this, and we give them this amount of return.
And give a 1-sentence testimonial from somebody whose life has been radically changed by this particular solution.
Yes.
I think those two elements would like make this the ideal pitch.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. We have one final submission. Let's take a look at our final submission, which is from
Rob Leapart.
Rob Leapart, hybrid retirement from content creator Sheila. So let's take a look at that finalist.
What if retirement didn't start by quitting work, but by taking Fridays off? Many professionals spend decades building retirement savings, but when retirement gets closer, they realize the traditional plan doesn't match the life they want. That's because most plans follow one model. You work full-time until you stop completely. But many professionals don't want to stop working. They want flexibility, they want more time, and they want their wealth producing reliable income. That's what hybrid retirement strategies are designed to do. They turn retirement savings into income, so you can start buying back your time. For many professionals, it starts with a 4-day work week. Watch the full documentary on YouTube.
Again, another really strong submission, and I've always had kind of a partial preference to this particular brand, but you and I have watched this brand evolve over the last 12 months, and there was a lot of focus on like hybrid work week, 4-day work week, but I think that this particular submission did so much better of a job focusing on retirement and money.
Yeah, calling it hybrid retirement tells you exactly what it is. It's for a retirement plan. I think they could have done a little bit better on identifying the target audience and the reasons why they might be interested in this. But I like the ending, that with the call to action of like, your retirement now starts with a 4-day work week. That made me lean in. That created curiosity of like, wait, what do you mean?
And I think
I want to know more.
You could be more specific and say, did you know that you could start the retirement process at age 50? That'd be a good hook.
Yeah.
Because it like, whoa, I'm 51. I'd love to check out.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about identifying the target audience a little more, because I know through conversations with Rob that it's people that are close to retirement. You wouldn't do this in your 30s or 40s unless you were like wealthy enough to like really
or a sole proprietor that
or
could
whatever.
work 10 or 12 hours for 3 or 4 days.
But there's a lot of people that are 55 or 50 just going, I can't wait for retirement. I wish I could just take Fridays off and start my retirement a little bit early.
I have a family member and you have a family member who are emergency room nurses or nurses. And it's such a brutal shift. It's brutal on your body. You're on your feet for long periods of time. And it took for my sister a knee injury where she's like, I can't keep working 5 days a week in the emergency room. I've got to find another solution because she's suffering every day. If she saw a promo like this is something that she would be interested in learning more about. And I think the only thing missing, which is the origin story, which I know, well, I don't know if you know the backstory, but this particular business owner, Rob Leapart, they are obsessed with travel. They're obsessed with skiing. They're obsessed with concerts. So he makes it his mission to get his whole family to go do like as many trips as they can on as many weekends as they can. But the challenge he always had was if you only have from Saturday morning or even Friday, 6 p.m. to Monday, 8 a.m., it's expensive. It's super limited on what you're able to do. And so for him, he's like, man, if we could only have 3 or 4 days or the flexibility to do a ski trip where he gives me a travel day, 2 days to ski and a travel day.
And that's the other thing that has been missing from this. It's starting to get a little more clear is because it's I can do this without affecting my future retirement.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the real key is I can start dipping into my retirement now without affecting my payouts when I hit 65.
And there's nobody else that I'm aware of in the market that offers that specific service of I can help you financially afford to do it. Not only can I teach you to do it, but I can help you financially afford it.
And getting back to story, there's a great story in here. We just need to like pull it out. Just pull it out a little bit more.
So we are going, after the break, we are going to choose a winner in our next segment called The Final Cut. So join us after the break.
In the Sandbox, financial professionals learn how to craft a powerful message and build a funnel that attracts qualified prospects and books real appointments. But when a funnel is truly dialed in, when the message is clear, and the system proves it converts, it enters the final cut, where top-performing funnels can be hosted on the WealthVids platform and licensed to financial professionals in other regions across the country. Only a few make it this far. So the question is, who has a message strong enough to make it to the final cut?
All right. Welcome back. And we are now at the final cut. And so for Brian and I, we spent a lot of time. I think we watched these videos like 5 times.
So the final cut is, just to explain, is people join the Sandbox, advisors, business advisors, or business professionals, financial industry. We help them craft their story and help them and coach them through our weekly coaching to get to this point to where they can start building out their documentary and then how WealthVids ties into that.
In submitting their 60-second pitch videos, almost like an audition. Because with the WealthVids YouTube platform and our website, our goal is really to highlight those who've been willing to learn how to craft that story in an interesting enough way that's worth creating content. If you create content and spend all this money and time, but it's not engaging, it doesn't grab people's attention and doesn't hold people's attention, then it's really worthless. So we really want these pitch videos to show us it's worth our time building out a full documentary.
Yes, and the advice that everyone gives across the whole internet and YouTube is you got to get, with digital marketing and online marketing, it's all about driving traffic, getting attention. And that's what you hear from all these gurus on YouTube is you got to drive traffic. But if you are driving traffic to people or to a place with a crappy offer and a bad story and people are confused, they click away, they bounce out. And so what this process does in the Sandbox is when you get to that level, then we can help you drive traffic and push it towards a documentary that we know converts.
Right. Think of this as, and the reason we call it a pitch video, think of this as you have a story to tell with that'll help grow your company. And if you went to Universal Studios and said, would you be willing, or a publisher, would you be willing to help me write a book, market and advertise my story, or a streaming platform, and let me show you a 60-second overview of what I want this 30-minute documentary to be. You got to sell those investors or the publisher, the streaming platform. You have to sell them. The story in 60 seconds has to be so compelling, so unique. They lean in so much. They're like, I want to hear more.
And they go, yes,
I want to hear more.
We can put advertising dollars behind this because we know
this
we
will
can
convert.
Sell the crap out of this.
This will convert. So that's the point of these pitch videos.
And the point of the Sandbox.
And I do have to say, for our champion, our final cut for the week, is a content creator out of the Philippines who's only been doing this for like 8 weeks. They didn't know how to do content creation, AI video development, like none of it.
Story
8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But joining the Sandbox and getting all the mentorship, the tools, the formulas, the software that we make available to our content creators. Really, when I watched this winning video, I was really impressed from where they started in eight weeks ago to where they are today. And I was like, wow, I would have never guessed that this content creator created this pitch video.
And if a content creator from the Philippines that doesn't understand the US financial market can do it using our tools and our training, how much better would an advisor or a financial professional with all of their knowledge be able to level it up to another, even a level above that? So we have awesome killer creators in the Sandbox, and all we need is professionals to take the tools and the training that we've put together, develop a story, and then we can with our team, we can develop amazing content. And we're just looking for good stories.
Yes.
Good stories that we can drive a crap ton of traffic.
And a lot of advisors will pitch ideas, and I in the past have had to mentor them through iteration. Mm-hmm. But we have a new tool, and I'm just going to throw this at you and our production team. Next week, I really want to do an episode on NotebookLM.
Yes.
Because NotebookLM can help take every collateral video, your website, all of your meetings, any document source that you can upload, and it can summarize it into a pitch before you even present it to the Sandbox, to our team. It does such a great job. It even has a critique tool that will tell you all the parts that need working on it, and it's free.
Yes.
So
it's free. It's Google. It's a Google product. Google NotebookLM.
Yes.
And
so
find it.
Next week, I know I'm doing a shameless pitch, but that being said, let's announce the winner. For this week, it really is American Financial with their Great Deception. But most importantly, I think the reason that we chose this was because of the content creator, and that was Christine.
Yeah.
The fact that she could learn all of these things using our tools and produce something at that level within. Now, she only took a week to put the pitch video together. But the 8 weeks that she learned all the tools, she was able to put this together really in a day.
And to be fair, the last 30 to 90 days that we've been working on developing the story and the brand statement and the unique solution, we had all the parts and pieces to give her that made her job so much easier.
NotebookLM.
So that's what the advisors, the professionals' responsibility is to put all those pieces together. Who are you talking to? What are you selling? What does it do? And what's the result that your client gets? And put that all into a package that we can develop into a story and a pitch video.
Yes. So Congratulations, American Financial. But today I'm going to focus specifically on one of our new content creator members in the Sandbox.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Christine. You are the champion and made the final cut, which means that she secures a permanent employment contract with our marketing company. And of course, we're going to have her bill out some new documentaries based on that pitch video.
Yep.
So congratulations. Super excited for you.
Awesome job.
And before we wrap up and throw out next week's challenge, which I kind of cheated and threw it out already, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to wrap up the show.
Most financial professionals know they should be marketing online, but very few know what actually works. That's why we built the Sandbox, a marketing system designed specifically for financial professionals. At the center is a cinematic documentary and persuasive sales video designed to educate prospects, build trust, and drive booked appointments. Inside the Sandbox, you'll also receive weekly mentoring and coaching to help you build your funnel step by step. And when it's complete, it can enter the final cut, where top funnels compete for nationwide licensing opportunities. Step into the Sandbox today.
Outstanding.
And by the way, to Marie, and she makes all these videos. These videos keep getting better and better. I'm just so impressed every time I see.
Marie's our producer, and to her team. She has an entire team that helps work on these. But they all developed all their skills in the Sandbox.
Yep.
And using all the tools that we make available to them.
Yep.
Now, just a reminder, if you're a DIY financial professional and you, instead of the expense of paying a content creator, you want to learn how to do it yourself, you're more than welcome. We have probably a third of our members who are actually financial professionals who are tech savvy, creative, and they want to build their own pitch video and documentary. You are welcome to do that. There's so many opportunities, because if we pick up your documentary video and publish it on the WealthFits platform, you can then sell those leads nationwide to any other financial professional in the country.
License out your particular solution to other advisors and professionals.
And it can become just as or more financially beneficial as the actual product or service you sell yourself. So the Sandbox is comprised of DIY financial professionals plus our content creators, and all the tools, research, formulas that we've developed over the last 10 years, all available in the Sandbox, wealthfits.com/sandbox. And the challenge for this next week is going to be somehow find a way to get access to NotebookLM. Now, it does require a paid account. Now, if it does require a paid account. I've tried it multiple times this week. You have to be on Google Workspace.
Google One, or buy a Google One account.
You do that too,
which is $20 a month.
Right. So,
and then you get access to a bunch of tools.
Right. So whether you have Google Workspace at like $12 or a one account for $20, the difference is when you do Workspace, if you have a bunch of employees,
they can all share it.
No, it actually upgrades you to the $12.95 for every single user. You can't select one user or the other user. So what I had to do is like create an alternate account and then do a one account. I pay $20 instead of paying $12 for every user I have on my account. So the challenge is go out, get access to NotebookLM. It is a life changer. I'm telling you, it is probably the most influential tech AI tool that I've implemented into our tech stack. And you just introduced it to me like 6 weeks ago. It is literally, I did 10 hours of work in 4 hours. I told you about this when you showed up today.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's where you can accumulate all your best ideas. You just link them as sources, and then our team can create summaries, videos, slideshow presentations. It's incredible. And we'll keep working with you to add sources to make it more and more and more accurate until it's so good that your idea is something we'd consider to build out a full documentary because you've taken the time, the effort, and the work to upload enough sources to tell your story. So NotebookLM and we're going to highlight 60-second video. Well, they're about a minute 30 audio briefs.
Yes.
And so creating a NotebookLM audio brief that tells your story, the problem, and your solution is the challenge for this next week. And we will take 3 finalists, and in the final cut, we'll choose 1 champion.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for joining us today, hanging in with us. We're super excited about helping you scale your business through telling your story in a digital format. So until next week, we'll see you in the digital world.